President Biden is due to meet with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy once again tomorrow. And joining us right now to talk about it all is David McIntosh. He is former Republican congressman of Indiana, who's now president of the conservative PAC Club for Growth. Also, Evan Bayh, who's former Democratic senator and governor of Indiana. And gentlemen, I have to confess, I don't think I can take another conversation talking about talking points from either side, people trying to get through and negotiate through the media. Fortunately, you are both reformed politicians, so I'm hoping we can have a more reasonable conversation about what's actually happening here. Let's just start with the basic premise. I think probably something you'll both agree on is it a bad idea for us to default on our debt? And Senator Bayh, I'll start with you.
Well, first, Becky, hopefully we can bring some Hoosier common sense to the discussion this morning.
Please
David's
do.
from Indiana, as am I, and I know you have Indiana roots as well, so hopefully we can talk common sense to the American people. Well, yes, it's a terrible idea. We've not done that before. It would run a lot of risks going into a sort of an unknown situation. What it would really do, the last time we went through this, we had a Marshall downgraded the country's credit rating. If we have that happen again, that'll cause interest rates to go up. And it's not going to just affect the government. It's going to affect all of your viewers out there with marginally higher interest rates. To put it in terms that people can understand, it would be a little bit like going to your bank and asking for a loan for your business or to buy a new home or a car, but say to the banker, oh, and by the way, from time to time, I may consider not repaying you or paying you interest. The banker is either not going to give you the loan or is going to charge you a higher interest rate for the risk. And so that's really what, at a fragile time like this, with uncertainty in the banking system, with possibly a recession on the horizon, this is completely the wrong time to just jump off into the void, which would be a default on the national debt.
So kind of like student loans.
Well, it's kind of like that, Joe. As usual, you're the voice of reason. Yeah, people should pay their student loans too.
Yeah, I'm guessing
my wife
doesn't
did
agree with the student loan. Go ahead, Senator.
Oh, I was just going to say, Joe, if you're looking for consistency in Washington, D.C., you're going to be looking for a long time. Look, a lot of the people, and David will agree with this, I'm sure, on both sides of the issue, Democrats and Republicans before have voted to raise the debt ceiling without any issue when their president was in charge.
But half the time there are some things that happen. It's more often than not, it's not just a clean raise, Evan.
Well, look, Joe, I'm in favor of my own party agreeing to spending restraints. I think we're on an unsustainable spending path. I do think the compromise here is that we should raise the debt ceiling so we're not holding a gun to the head of the economy. And then Democrats should say, okay, now we're going to get serious about spending.
Can you stick around for Sheldon Whitehouse? He's coming on in about 20 minutes. And what Becky just described, that's exactly what we're going to get in about 20 minutes.
Congressman McIntosh, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I want to agree with my fellow Hoosier. In fact, I wish he were sitting there in the White House advising Joe Biden, because I think we would have had a deal on this a long time ago, and it would have been a good one. First of all, there may be a technical default, but as Senator Toomey pointed out, Treasury bills will be paid back. Interest will be paid on them. Sanity will return. So I wrote an op-ed with Jeff Yass, one of the brightest investors in the country at Susquehanna. His estimate is the market cap would go down about 2%. That's a big hit. There'd be a flight to safety in the bond market. But we also pointed out if the president would simply sign the Republican bill, there is a Republican bill to lift the debt ceiling. If he'd sign that, that's a 4% projected increase in market cap. So you got a 6% swing between high and low there. And that's an obvious choice for the right answer. The president should sit down, take the bill or most of the bill. There's some political things in there they can negotiate about, but the core of putting a restraint on spending, which Evan just mentioned he would be in favor of in principle, the core of that Republican bill is right there. And it's a $4 trillion savings right before the president. And so we can get this done. And Kevin McCarthy's a negotiator. I think he's not going to come in with a take it or leave it attitude.
Okay.
But I think something has to change from the current course.